Hooray. Good. So, I don't know why it is, but all of the stuff that I drink on this show so far has looked rank. But this is a very special iced coffee with a bit of Aldi's finest Bally's, I think it is. Not Bailey's. Bally's. Well done, it's the end of Monday, everyone. We made it. Hello, welcome, come in. Mondays suck, don't they? I don't know why. It's just until now, of course, which is the highlight of any Monday. Notices. I feel like a bit like a teacher, you know, when I do the register at the beginning of the day. Notices of the week. Today is a day where I'm wearing this new shirt, which is from my friend Flick West. Hi, Jack Needle. It's an Irish coffee. Yes, iced Irish coffee. Yes, that's what it's called. Hello, everybody. Anyway, this shirt is from my friend Flick West, who I went to her house on the weekend and she just gave me a load of her clothes. So, great. This is sponsored by her. What other notices of the week? I really should think this little bit through. I haven't thought that bit through. Wow, so tonight's show. Quite a big deal, actually, this one. Hi, Michael Driver. Hi everybody, welcome. So I'm going to do a little introduction before getting my guest on, because it's always best to do an introduction when you're not face to face, because then they don't get embarrassed. I feel like that would be how I would feel. I'm so excited. Me too, multi-X sunshine _. So where do I start? Well, I suppose the first place we were introduced to the magic that is Sharon Rooney was in My Mad Fat Diary, when she landed, much like me, the lead role in a pioneering and brave new E4 show, which debuted in 2013. And perhaps unlike me, though, Sharon has maintained her career and her reputation for groundbreaking performances on television, with roles such as Dawn in Brief Encounters, about the women who began retailing for Ann Summers, Sophie in Two Doors Down for BBC Scotland, about next door neighbours in Glasgow, and the fantasy sitcom Zapped, in which she played a useless soothsayer. God, tongue twister, nailed it. Barbara. And the list goes on. The Tunnel, No Offence, The Capture, and of course, Miss Atlantis in last year's Tim Burton reimagining of Dumbo, in which she sings Like an Angel, Baby Mine. If you didn't cry, you're a robot. One of the most tear-jerking songs in the entire movie. And she's here to talk to me and to you lot this evening about all of that. And she's here waiting to be allowed into the room now. If that had worked, that would have been so cool. There! Hi, you all right?
Yeah, thank you for that lovely introduction. That was very kind.
I actually haven't finished, but I feel like I need to say this bit to your face.
Okay.
Okay, are you good? Can I go?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm overwhelmed that you've agreed to be here with me doing this on a Monday. And I'm going to be kind of unactory. I think it's like a non-actory thing to say that I am just so jealous of what you've done. I feel like we had the same kind of beginning, and on paper, you've literally done exactly what I would have wanted to do. Like everything that, all of the parts you've done, the variety, I mean, it's just like overwhelmingly cool to have you here. And I think it's also overwhelming, and has become abundantly clear from the number of people who have commented and asked you questions, how much you mean, and this is a response from our combined followers, just not just from me, because you've been kind enough to share about this evening on your own channel, and it just feels like everyone has, I think the impact that you, Sharon, as a person have had on people who follow your work is kind of profound, shall we say.
Thank
That's it. I'm
you.
finished now. I finished.
That is, you're far too kind. I'm genuinely honoured that you asked me to do this.
Oh,
I've loved this series. I love watching it, and I was so chuffed when you asked me to do it.
wow. Well, that's great. So we're both chuffed. This is a real love-in.
Yeah, we're both chuffed.
How are you feeling? Because I've got so many questions from lots of people. I think we
Mhm.
might just need to kind of get into it.
That's fine.
Okay. So this week I'm going to do things a bit differently for fans of the show. You'll be used to me asking my own questions, and then some of the questions that have been asked on my page will then be asked by me. However, this week I wanted to do things a bit differently because there have been so many brilliant questions and so many important questions that I feel like you guys, the viewers, need to be part of this too. So I have chosen questions that I wanted to ask so that we can ask them together. I've slightly rephrased them, perhaps in some cases, so that they fit in line with my line of questioning and the style of the show, but you will be credited as the question asker. So just really briefly, because quite a lot of these questions will be discussing the character of Ray in My Mad Fat Diary, could you give the people who may have been under a rock a little brief overview of that show, where you started professionally, you know, in the kind of wider world, and a little bit about the character?
So I kind of got straight in at the deep end. I'd never done a show before, let alone a lead in a show. And the audition for Mad Fat Diary came through, and I actually had decided to stop acting. And I'd said to my agent at the time, I don't want to go for any more auditions. Like I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore, because I kept getting to the last two or the last three, and I thought I've had enough. And then the Mad Fat Diary script came through, and I said no, I don't want to read it. And then I did read it, and obviously fell completely in love with her. And the story, basically, it's about a real person. Rae Earl is a real person. I'm not as cool as she is. She's wicked. But the story picks up when she's 16, and she's just come out of a psychiatric hospital, and she is trying to find her way, trying to work out how to be a teenage girl in a world where she doesn't feel like she fits in, I guess.
That's a very good description. How old were you when you shot that first series?
I think I was 23.
So that's
I
quite...
think.
Do you think that was conscious from them? Because obviously they just made Skins, which had 17-year-olds being 17-year-olds. Do you think because of the subject matter that was a conscious choice?
When I
Or they
first
just
started going
found
to
you and they
auditions,
were
there
like,
was
who cares? She's 20, it doesn't matter.
I wish. The audition process, there was lots of different ages of girls from about 14, 15 to maybe a little bit older than me. So they
Right.
were looking like a lot of ages, but I think I'm glad I was older, just because it's a lot, isn't it? It's a lot.
Yeah, definitely. A few people are saying your screen is blurry. It's fine for me, but I wonder if, I don't know, maybe you need to move or
It's fine
check.
on my end too. It's not blurry.
No. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry, everyone, if your screen is blurry. You can still hear Sharon, though. Yeah? Yeah? Good.
I
Okay.
don't know which is worse.
Shut up. Okay, so I've got, my first question is kind of in 4 parts, although they are all asking the same thing, but I feel like the words of the people need to be heard probably by you. So I'm going to read them all, and then you can answer in full after that. So Lauren.Rousel has asked, what was life like after My Mad Fat Diary ended? And obviously for me, this is the overarching thing of the whole show, is what happens after a character that is so, such a huge thing in your life. Where does that leave you? So that's kind of my question as well. But then Gemma Catherine 13 has said, did playing a character whose main storyline focused on their weight and how it was negatively viewed by not only themselves but others impact you emotionally, or influence how you felt about your real self? Gemma goes on to say, I personally related to Rae in My Mad Fat Diary and her thoughts and struggles so much. I would cry watching it because for the first time I felt like I could really see myself in a main character. Your portrayal was so incredible and believable. Did you draw from any personal experience or feelings? Megan Courtney, I'm nearly there. She says, have you ever heard from fans about the impact a character like Rae has had for plus size girls who watch the show? What has that been like for you? And being so important to girls who watch the show and resonated with Rae's body image issues, I know I did. And then Angie Elizabeth X. April, can you please ask Sharon how she moved on from the character after the series came to an end? Like you, the viewer, get so invested in a character and it helps so many viewers in a variety of ways. How did she leave Rae at the end of the series and move on with being Sharon Rooney? Also, please can you tell her that the programme helped me so much with some of my own mental health struggles, just knowing other people had the same issues as me and I'm not alone. So can you thank her for helping me deal with my own demons? So can you see how that would be? That's a very big question, but ultimately I think it's about the importance of the show, the character, and for me, it's the importance of Rae in your life and what happened once that ended. Go!
Well, thank you for those lovely questions and messages. It still kind of blows my mind a little bit that people love her as much as me, because I think when you start on a journey like we did and where you're kind of going into the unknown, they're yours for such a long time. You film, you do press, and they're still yours. You're not sharing them yet, and then they go off into the world, and then everyone kind of takes them a wee bit, and you kind of feel like you're. And it's weird. I mean, it's great, but it's a bit weird when you go, oh, but she's mine, and nobody loves her as much as me, and then you kind of have to let that go a wee bit. So I don't really know where to start. Obviously, Rae's weight is a huge part of the story, but her problems are fat too. And I love that they called it My Mad Fat Diary, because that wasn't the title of the book. Is My Fat Mad Teenage Diary. Okay. So I didn't know what they were going to call it.
Right.
And I was really hoping that they didn't take fat out. Because I thought, no, don't take it out, leave it. Just leave it there. It's fine. And I remember people asking me, like, how will you feel about that? And I was like, absolutely fine, because it's fine. So I never ever struggled with that side of it at all, because I think in a way I'm very lucky that I've always grown up in a world where I've been fine as I am, and no one's ever kind of. I mean, I'm giant as well. I'm like 6 foot, so like I've always been like big. It's never been an issue, and I had never been through what she had been through. But I can imagine how hard that must be, and also how nice it must have been to see someone that looks like you on telly getting to be them.
And also a central character, not just the friend or it's
exactly.
It's her story,
which I love. And I just loved that. I loved that she got to do all the things that anyone else would get to do, because we are people. We 100%. Exist. We're not like unicorns.
100%.
We exist. So I loved that, and it didn't impact me negatively. If anything, it impacted me in a positive way, because I was like, guys, it's fine. You can be you. I didn't have to change to get my dream. You don't have to change to get yours. So in that sense, it was fine. And I loved getting messages from girls and boys and women and men and everyone in between, saying how they liked to see someone that looked like them. So that was great. I loved that. What else was in the question?
Well, it was I guess it was how did it feel like a cross to bear at any point? Did you ever feel like, I can't be seen to be not positive about this? Like, did you ever feel like, the crossover between I mean, my whole thing is I'm still seen as that character and not as April. So I suppose the question of leaving Rae behind, what was the crossover like, and does it still exist for you? I mean, clearly it does. That was a silly question.
It does, but I think I can kind of be more in charge of that now, and I'm more okay with that. Between series 1 finishing and series 2 starting, that was a whole mess and jumble of trying to work out where she ended and I started, because
Okay.
I had suddenly gone from people knowing that my name was Sharon to not being called Sharon anymore, and it was
and people not even knowing
just
that
a
you
bit
were
weird.
Scottish.
Yeah, and people telling me that I wasn't, and I'd meet people and they'd be like, "Or is this your secret accent?" And I was like, "No, this is me." And
No, this is my undercover
it was
accent.
weird.
Not only do I wear a hat and
Yeah,
glasses, but I changed my voice as well.
I changed my
Amazing.
voice, and a woman
But
was like, "I
that's
mean,
a
I
real
don't."
testament to how good the accent is. I mean, if that show did nothing else, it produced
I
lots of
mean,
people that can do good accents, let's face it.
it's not Lincolnshire, because someone might have got a wee bit confused near the beginning and told me Lincoln. So never mind,
Okay.
it was fine. It was
Right.
fine. It was too late by then because episode 2 was out.
Sure.
So
Could
that
she
was
have
that.
come from Lincoln? Anyway, sorry, you
I
were saying
mean,
in between 1 and 2, that was where it was a bit of a mess in your head.
because you're just this. It was so new to me, and I think naively when we were filming the first series, I kind of got carried away with the filming because I mean, as you know, it's every day, it's full on. There's no downtime. You're just constantly going and having the best time. I kind of forgot it was going to come out. I didn't think that far ahead because there was no time.
Yeah.
And in a way, I'm glad I was like that because it meant I could be so free and not think about anyone watching it or anything other than the job. But then obviously it comes out and you go, oh, I okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It's out there. Can't take that back.
Where was kind of social media at that point? Because we obviously in 2007 we missed it completely. I think Twitter might have been like an inkling in people's eye, but we had no kind of direct contact with any of our fans at the time. Where was that for you?
I had Twitter, and I remember someone asking me when we were doing the media training, "Do you have Twitter? What's your handle?" And I said yes, and they said, "Okay, that's fine, keep it." And I thought, okay, cool. No one's going to want to tweet me anyway. Like, fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't have an Instagram until I think just before the show came out, or maybe as it was coming out. I got an Instagram. So it was relatively just Twitter at that point, which was enough.
Right. I think maybe that was back when Twitter wasn't such a horrible place to be. I don't know, maybe. Oh no?
I think I got off lightly. I think I honestly got off quite lightly, which I'm forever thankful for. There was the odd, I mean, obviously there's always a couple. It was more weirdly all the hate I got was before the show had come out, which was really weird. I think it was because it was a new show. They did a massive marketing campaign. And
I remember it.
Like,
I remember
just before Christmas, because it was on every 2 minutes. And I for some reason, I don't know what the reason was, but people thought it was a reality show. And it did not go down well. So I think people thought, who is this girl? Why is she talking about being fat so freely and openly? And also, what is this? And so people were like, are you the
Why
girl
is this on my television?
Who do you think you are? Yeah. And the toothpaste dressing gown, I just thought, it caused a lot of issues. And then once clips started coming out, it was fine because people were like, oh, it's the character. Right, got it.
That's problematic really though, isn't it? That it's okay if it's a character, but not if it's a real person. What?
Right? really weird. And then they were like, "Oh, she's a real person. You're playing a real person." Fair enough, that's fine. And I thought, all
How
right, okay,
bizarre. How
cool. But
bizarre.
they kind of went away, which was lovely. And then loads of nice people came,
And so has that
which
been
was
your experience, I guess, you know, ultimately to get back to the final part of the question, which is we're now, you know, is it 10 years later? No, not quite. From the first
I
series,
think
we're about 7 years
8
later.
or 9.
Oh, God. My maths is so bad.
I don't know. I'm getting old. I don't know.
Basically, you're a bit older than you were. What's the gap been like?
Yes. Really, luckily, very busy, which I'm forever grateful for and still a bit overwhelmed by.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's been a really busy journey, and I'm not kind of unaware of how lucky that is, and how lucky I've been to be given all these opportunities and chances.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been
Did you
busy,
feel after
but
it
great.
was like a, sorry to interrupt, after the show came out, did you feel
Mhm.
like there was a sort of buzz around you as an actor, and then that you felt you needed to capitalize on that in a way? Or like if you'd gone a bit like I did and hidden in a corner, do you think there may have been more of a hiatus? Because I mean, and looking at your CV, it looks like you went from that show and just the wheels haven't stopped turning.
I think it's mostly down to finding a really good agents, and
Yeah.
them kind of letting me take the foot off. I'm quite not antisocial, but I'd happily be in a corner.
Right.
I'm quite happy there. Um, so having them kind of guide me, and not because, like you say, sometimes when things finish, there's a lot of hype and there's a lot of offers coming in, and you don't always know which way to go, or what way is the right way. So I put my
Mm.
trust in them, and I'm obviously glad I did, because they kind of kept me going the right way. And
Yeah.
luckily, I'm a bit of a hermit, so I just kind of go to work and then come
So
home. So
you've
it
got
was
them going,
fine.
hello Sharon, hi there. Would you like to come to audition, please? Anytime soon. Thanks.
Yeah, and me going,
That's
can I
great.
self tape? Could I just self tape, please? Can I self tape?
Well, actually, one of the questions is about where you live. Do you live in Scotland? And the question, hold on, let me, because I said I would quote people on their questions. Where is it? Oh, it's Lydia Rosaltham has asked, as someone from Scotland, do you find yourself working away from home in terms of the work offered? I'm obviously talking about this as if you live in Scotland because you're Scottish, but I don't know that.
Yeah. No, I do live in Scotland. I've always lived here, and I've always kind of refused to leave. Um,
Okay.
I'm a massive, I'm a home bird,
Yeah.
and I couldn't think of being anywhere else. And I've been saying for years, one day I'm going to have to move, and I haven't had to yet. I spend a lot of time living out a suitcase, which
Yeah. Well, I suppose that's the question: is are you working away from home a lot? Which is
yeah,
yes.
probably about 2/3 of the year. I'm not at home,
Mm.
which makes coming home better.
I was
So
just gonna say it must make it so much more special when the wheels touch down in Scotland. You're like, I'm home.
as soon as I text my mum and I'm like, I'm getting off the train. Is anyone free to pick me up? And then I just come home, put my jammies on. Everyone's like, we're going out, and I'm like, no, no,
No, I haven't been here for two
no,
thirds of the year.
I'm staying in.
Okay, well that's good. That's done with that question. So what I always forget, because it's so nostalgic watching My Mad Fat Diary for me, because it's technically a period drama, which obviously is
Mm-hmm.
a weird one, but it's set when we were kids, so in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the question from Art Intrigued, nice. If Rae lived in today's society, do you think that would have been better or worse for her mental health?
I think probably a bit of both.
Mm-hmm.
I think social media is great, but I also think it can be very detrimental, especially to teenagers. But I think and I hope that she would still write a diary, but I could imagine her creating a blog and
Mm.
finding people, which is kind of what I love about our show and the people that watched it, is that there's been so many friendships that have formed through people watching the show. So I think
Yeah.
if she was here now, she would probably find some people and find people going through similar things and maybe helping each other through blogging, or I don't know. I'd love it if she started a fashion blog because I'm all about the Converse and denim skirts and t-shirts.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've had a little window into your world and Ray's world, and there are so many alive and kicking Tumblr accounts and groups
Mm-hmm.
and friendship groups on Instagram that are all, like fan fiction. And somebody asked if you'd read any of the fan fiction and things that, like, keep the character alive even though the book's finished and the series is finished. There are still people creating little scenarios for Ray to exist in now, which just shows, I mean, how much she's still needed.
Yeah, yeah. And I love that. I just love that people love her as much as me. I
Mm.
didn't think anyone would love her like as much as me. So it's really cool. And I, like you say, there's still people creating things, which I think is, I don't know, I just find it so overwhelming, really, that
Yeah,
people care that much.
yeah. And there's also, I think I get tagged in things a lot where people edit bits of the show together and then, like, put a different soundtrack over it, and, like,
Hmm.
alternative endings that could have happened. And it's so fun just watching, like, other people's imagination and what they see as, something that could have been cool but it didn't happen.
Yeah,
I mean, that kind of technology is crazy that, people are able to do that now.
and so clever, so clever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've only just figured out how to do Instagram at all, let alone edit videos together.
This is my first live, and I'm amazed that I mean, I know it's blurry, and I'm so sorry if it is.
Yeah, there are some people who are saying it's bad,
I
some
think
people
I'm
aren't. So I
upsetting
don't
so
know.
many of your. I think I'm upsetting everyone on your channel, April. I'm so sorry.
Maybe move around, see if it helps. Just, like, pick up the
It's
Wi-Fi
clear
signal.
on mine.
Yeah, it's clear on mine too. When I post it, you'll be able to watch it again. If it's blurry for you, when I post it again, when I post it to my page, you might be able to catch up with it. So it might not be blurry.
I've put it on 4G, and if that helps, I don't know.
Okay,
Did that
great.
make it worse?
Well, hopefully, if I don't know if it will make it worse. I don't think so. Let's see. We'll see. Lots of people speaking in languages I don't understand right now, so we'll see. Let's plow on because we can still hear you perfectly, and that's what's important.
Okay.
So, I don't know how to say this. Ryhamd has asked, how did you mentally prepare yourself to play the character of
Mhm.
Rae? And she suffers with a lot of mental health issues. And then Fifty FIFA. God, this is difficult with people's Instagram names. But was it difficult to shoot some scenes? And if so, which one? P.S. I love you. And then Paula Oseet, what was the hardest thing about playing Rae? So you see, quite a lot of people are asking similar-ish questions, so I thought I'd group them into that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So how did you prepare yourself to play a character with so many issues? And what was the most difficult thing in the performing of that when you had to deal with it on set?
This might sound a bit weird, but I literally just did it. Like I didn't,
Mm. We've
and I
got
know
an
that
Olivia
sounds a bit
Colman in the
like.
house, everyone.
I think when the writing is so good, you just
Yeah.
like she was so clear on the page that it never ever felt like it would be hard. And I think as human beings, if you
But
haven't had the
Sharon, it's
same
also amazing
struggle,
casting. You can't like do yourself a disservice there. Yes, the writing is fabulous, but the casting is absolutely perfect. And you are so fabulous in that role. So it is, I mean, obviously you're not going to sit here and be like, well, it's because it was just me and I'm perfect. But it's when all of those things match up together and they create something like this. And I think that's, I mean, I'm answering your question for you, but do carry on.
yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said before, I was a bit naive, so I
Mm,
didn't and I'm so glad I didn't overthink things or get wrapped up in anything. I just did it, and you kind of don't have time. You kind of, the prep time is zero. There is
mhm.
no prep time, and sometimes you're getting scenes and rewrites on the floor, so you just have to trust your gut, I think. Um,
Yeah.
and I didn't think that anyone would watch it, so I wasn't thinking of any anything
That's
else
a good way to
other
look at it,
than
isn't it? Well, I'm just doing this for
I
fun
get
and hanging out with some friends, and there's a channel spending loads of money for nothing.
yeah. And I said that when they came to visit the set. I
Oh,
said, "Do you think
great.
anyone will watch it?" But in a naive way, like just in a jet, like, "Do you think people will watch this?" And they were like, "Well, we would hope so, Sharon." And I
Yeah.
was like, "All right, okay." Oh, oh.
Let's get the girls some media training immediately.
And then the next day, a lovely woman came and was like, "Hello, I'll be training you." And I was like, "Oh, good,
Hello.
good,
We're slightly worried about how
great."
you're promoting this show.
Yeah, because I was going. I mean, it was great fun.
Oh, God.
Um, I'm still not much better, to be honest.
Uh,
Terrible.
but
But
that's
luckily people
lovely.
did watch it.
Yes,
I
they
just
did.
can't
So
think too far ahead, otherwise I would never leave the house.
100%, and that's honestly, I think you're the first actor I've spoken to that actually is able to do that. Everyone is on a job thinking, when's my next job? It's crazy.
Terrible. All I think about is getting home and getting my pajamas on. That's literally that's as
Wow.
far as I think. But
Wow.
I can't.
That's
I'm too
amazing.
anxious a person, and I worry too much, so I would never sleep, and I would never get anything done. I would never.
God.
I would never do anything. I
Yeah,
just worry.
you're right. So although you were just going with your instincts and performing as it was written on the page, was there anything on set that was tricky to overcome, or sometimes on a set everyone's like a little bit cautious around a specific scene, and you're like, oh, even as an actor you're like, oh, there's a different energy today,
Hmm.
people are a bit worried about something. Was there anything like that?
There was once, obviously I'd been on sets before, but one was a kids' TV show where there was no acting and it was very different. And I'd done like one music video. So I had noticed on the call sheet it said closed set. And I thought, oh,
Mm-hmm.
does that mean we're shutting and having a break? Like, what does that mean? And then I turned up on set. And as soon as I walked in, I thought, oh, this is weird. And
Yeah, what's going
the
on?
crew were all outside, and they were like, "Hello, Sharon," and I was like, "Hi guys, what's?" Because normally I'm like, "Hi everyone, hi,"
Yeah.
and no one was looking me in the eye, and I thought, what's? And then I thought, that's it, I'm getting sacked. I've made an error, and I got in, and Tim, the director, was sitting on the bed, and he was like, "So should we have a chat? How are you feeling?" And I was like, "Fine." Why? And he said, well, it's a difficult scene and I want you to be comfortable. And I was like, is it? And it was the scene where Ray masturbates
Yeah.
for the first time at the end of the episode. And I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. Like, why is everyone being so weird? And he was like, oh, okay, you don't care? And I was like, no. And because it was so quiet and there was like three people there, I couldn't stop laughing because I felt
Oh
so
my God.
awkward.
Well,
It
that's
was
in a
so awkward.
way,
If
I
we'd have
suppose
just
the preamble, the everyone not making eye contact, everyone being outside, just
Mhm.
shows the kind of taboo of female masturbation. And at that point, they must have been, oh God, oh, this is just too much. We need to make sure that this actress is okay with performing such a
Yeah,
such a mind-blowing act. You know, that's you know.
And there's me going, what is wrong with everyone? You're all being really weird. It's
But
fine.
that's so
I'm not actually
disarming,
going to do
Sharon. That
anything.
would have been, you know, for everyone on set, they would have literally actively breathed a sigh of relief at that point. They would have just gone, oh,
They did,
yeah.
and it was much better.
I bet
It
the
was
whole
fine
energy
after
changed.
that. It had to, because I thought I can't do it if because I knew they were behind a wall like this, and they were like on their phones.
Yeah,
And I thought,
and
I can
also
hear, that's
so
worse.
weirdly watching on the screen. So actually, yes, the set's closed and you're
Yeah.
not there in person, but the whole 28 people are still watching on the monitor, the other side of the wall.
And they're going to see it anyway, so just come in.
Yeah.
So that was the only day that I was a bit like, I don't care, it's fine.
Yeah.
I've been with you all for months now. It's fine.
That's amazing. And I suppose there is that thing of, you know, when you've, like you say, when you've worked on something for a long period of time, the kind of the family vibe, the camaraderie, the fact that, you know, you feel so kind of fraternal with everybody. There would have been that thing of like, oh God, it's like watching my sister do something like that. So I suppose it's not so much, it maybe that's interwoven with the whole embarrassment factor.
It's just weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And people are always like, are sex scenes difficult? And I think, no, because they're the most unsexy thing in the world. There is nothing sexy about them. Nothing.
No.
And there's usually like a cameraman here, and you're like nudging the camera, and everyone's saying sorry, and it's just, no.
Yeah. And also, I think the best, my friend Kirsty, who's a sound woman, I don't know if she's watching, but she'll remember this. We were filming in a very, very small room. In fact, with our mutual friend, Carl Davies. I was doing a sex scene with him.
Yes.
Lovely Carl. And she was the only crew member in the room because it was through the doorway. So everyone was behind the camera, but even the camera was out of the room because it was, you know, quite a wide shot. And Kirsty was in there sort of pressed up against the wall and just had the boom over the bench. She was like, guys, I'm really sorry. I just don't know what to do because it's just me. And so it's so much worse when it's just the actors and then one other person. She was like, I just feel like I'm sort of intruding somehow.
And no one talks, like when they're setting, like, if you're setting up the next shot, no one talks because no one knows what to say. No one wants to be like, so we doing later?
Yeah.
You're just sitting. Yeah, it's just awkward. It's just awkward.
Yeah.
But I can't bear an awkward silence.
Oh, well, that's, again, amazing. Because if you're working with an actor sometimes you're working with an actor you've never met, and then suddenly you've got to do an intimate scene with them literally on the spot. So if you can be as confident as you are and as disarming as you are, then you're golden.
They probably hate it. They probably just want some quiet time, and there's me going, so, do you want to hear a joke?
No one would say that. Talking of the fact that the show is a period drama, which is just mad to think of. 199129 has said the soundtrack of the 90s is incredible in the show, which it 100% is. Which were your favourite songs from the show?
I mean, there wasn't enough Spice Girls for my taste.
Is there ever?
No, and we wove one in, just the one, which, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, Sharon. I feel like they might cost a few bob, those songs, particularly.
Well, here's me, brand new to the game, did not know that was even a thing. Didn't know it was a thing.
Why is there not more Spice Girls?
I was like, why can't we have it on really loudly in the back? And they were like, oh God, someone explain.
Because we're paying 30 grand every 10 seconds.
Yeah. Yep. There's so many things you learn. So many things.
Yeah.
Not enough Spice Girls for me, but I loved Champagne Supernova in the last episode of the first series. Is still one of my favourites.
Yeah.
And Jordan singing it in the pub. It was such a magical moment.
Yeah. There was a lot of magical singing in the show, Sharon, actually. Not just Jordan.
Oh God.
Do you think that's where Tim Burton went, do you know what? Who am I going to get to sing the most iconic song of Dumbo? Wow, I'm going to go back to My Mad Fat Diary and I'm going to go for Sharon Rooney. Why is that embarrassing?
That still gives me the fear. I spent a year and a half worried that I was going to take my family to see Dumbo and it wouldn't be me singing. I was terrified because I thought they're never going to keep this in. They're going to dub my voice, and I'll be fine with it. I'll be fine. But it's going to be really embarrassing. And I only sang in Mad Fat Diary because my best friend we had a bit of a tiff, and she was sitting with the producers, and she said, "Why don't you get Sharon to sing in Mad Fat Diary? That would be fun." And I was like, stop. And they were like, "Oh, do you sing, Sharon?" And I was like, "No, no." And she went, "Yeah, she does." And they said, "Oh, well, there is a talent show, so that might work." And I was like, Anna." And she was
Are
like,
you still best friends?
yeah, she's like my sister.
Good.
But yeah,
Good.
that's the only reason that Ray sang in Mad Fat Diary was because of my best
Wow.
friend.
That's such a cool
So I
story.
love.
It's one of the most iconic moments now.
It's weird,
It
isn't
is.
it? It's so
Oh
weird.
my God.
I love
People are reminding me though that I also sang in series 2 of Skins, which I have to say I would rather never remember. Because
yeah, well, I was waiting to mention it, but then I was trying to judge your face, and I was like, should I not, should I say it? Because I know I hate talking about it, so I thought, oh, maybe I shouldn't.
oh my God, I actually can't. There was nothing. I think they wrote it in, but I definitely remember being in the studio and them auto tuning our voices for sure.
They made us go to singing rehearsals on a Saturday.
Yeah, I think we
with
had
this
them as
really
well.
cool guy. He was so cool. He was called Jay, and he was so cool. And I would just like stare at him. And I'll sing at home all day, every day. That's what I do all day. I put YouTube on, karaoke playlists, and that's me all day. But ask me to sing in front of someone, and I'm like, no. So I would just stand in his house on a Saturday going, "So Jay, tell me, where did you grow up?" I'd be like, just sing the song.
Anything to have to put him off actually
Anything.
doing the job in hand.
Anything.
Oh God. I'm aware that the time is ticking on very fast, and I need to get some more of people's questions in. So, Sick Renama has asked, "Hi Sharon, do you have a specific moment during the making of My Mad Fat Diary that you will never forget? Lots of love from Italy. P.S. You too," which is me and you, helped me to love me, especially during my very difficult early adolescence, and I will never forget how important you are to me. How cool is that? That's
It's
so
mad,
cool.
isn't it?
Yeah. What a collab this is.
I know, I love that. I never want it to end.
I feel like Ray and Michelle would have actually been friends.
Ray would have just been like, "She's so cool. I've met this girl. She's so cool. You're gonna love her." And Chloe would have been like, "Who is it?
Who is that?
Who's
rid of
your
her."
friend Ray?" And Ray would have been like, "Guys, don't fight over me. There's enough of me to go around. It's fine."
Oh my God.
Magic.
We just wrote the scene just then. It just happened. Naturally.
I mean, where are our BAFTAs? Give us BAFTAs. We've done it.
Well, you have got one. You've got a Scottish BAFTA. Don't be greedy.
No, I don't. My mum and dad have one. I don't.
Right, okay. Okay, fine.
I'm barely allowed to touch it. I think I've held it once, and my dad's like, put it down.
Oh, that's so cute. They must be so proud. My God.
They love it.
Oh.
Magical. All of series 1 felt like a magical moment in a dream. I think the food fight and the chippy, just standing, watching them have a food fight and thinking, wow, these people are really cool and they're going to let me be in their gang. Sharon and Ray. It was like a double cool day. I loved it.
That's so cool. I have to say, I watched the first episode of series 1 over the weekend just because I obviously saw the full series a long time ago, and I was like, I'm just going to watch the first episode. I think I watched most of the first series just on the bounce. I just kept I was just like, next.
Really?
Next. Yeah. It just sucks you in. I don't know. It's one of those that you just can't. It's like a book that you can't put down. But that specific scene, I was watching it thinking, Are you there? Are you actually standing there? Because it felt like because there's that sort of, I don't know what the word is, but the zoom which pulls you forwards and then the foreground, the background backwards. I was like, were you standing there and watching that? And how many times did they shoot it?
I think they only did it twice, I think.
Right. Right.
And maybe only once, you know, where they got to proper go for it. And they went for it when we got in the car on the way back. They were so stinky. But
yeah.
hyper, it was, the drivers were like, oh my God, it's
Get
half
them
11,
home immediately.
And we were hyper, so hyper, because it was one of the first scenes we shot like together. So it was just really cool. And you know what it's like, you'll bounce off each other's energy, and yeah, it was a really cool night in the middle of Borehamwood High Street, and people getting really annoyed that the chippy was shut.
Oh,
we upset a lot of people closing that chippy.
I bet.
I mean,
there are so many cool slow-mo shots though of like ketchup just like slowly hitting the exact point of somebody's face.
Right where it was meant to go.
Yeah.
It was as if we'd all been doing it for years, you know. It was as if like we'd been. Yeah, I don't know how they got so lucky when we were all so hyper, and we kept getting told to be quiet outside because it was quite late, and we were all shouting, and it was just such a fun. I don't know, when you're young and free and you're not worrying about to go back.
Don't we all, eh? Jake, 23 some numbers, has asked, hi Sharon, as a Rooney yourself, I quite like this question, which is why I'm going to ask it. Who's your favourite rival Rooney? Is it Wayne, Sally, or Mara?
Oh, I mean, they're all pretty well skilled. But I think growing up, I used to get, are you Wayne Rooney's cousin? A lot. And then one time I convinced someone that I was his cousin.
Oh, wow.
And it went on like way too long. Like to the point where I had forgot I said it. And then they said, oh, congratulations on the baby. And I was like, what baby? He was like, your cousin had a baby. And I was like, what?
Wow, that you held on to that one a long time.
I did.
Wow.
I also used to pretend my name was Sharona after that song. I don't know why.
What song?
You know that my Sharona song? I used to pretend that was my name.
Right. I thought you were still talking about Rooney. I was like, I don't remember that in that song.
No. I don't know why I did things like that, but I used to always say that, because people would always say, oh, is Wayne Rooney your cousin? And I'd say,
right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah. What do you say when people say, are you Ray from My Mad Fat Diary? Have you ever said no?
I always say, no, I'm Sharon, I play Ray.
Oh, good one. That's such a good one.
Because I said that to my mum, and my mum was like, Sharon, that's mean. And I was like, it's not, because people, even talking with this accent, people will still say Ray, and it's boundaries in it. And a lot of the time I speak to people, they're having a difficult time. Not so much now, but especially in the beginning. So I had to make a safe boundary where I could say, I'm not Ray, I'm Sharon.
Yeah.
As in, I'm just an actress, but it's lovely to meet you.
Yeah. And also it kind of takes away that weird thing of saying yes and then not knowing how to address the void that's then them processing the fact that it is you and then not knowing what to say. That's such a good way around of doing it. I've never ever thought to do that.
Yeah, I always say, just so that there's a line, because otherwise it gets messy.
Yeah, and also not many people know what my actual name is. So it's that thing of, I will then, of course, I will mostly default to introducing myself. But actually, if you've done it the other way around, that's so much easier for people.
Yeah.
And I've never thought about it as a way of protecting me either.
Yeah.
That's really clever.
I learned from Kester. It's all about the boundary.
Nice. Good. Okay. So now that I only have 10 minutes and I've got legitimately 3 more pages of questions, it's going really well.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. So the Inside Society, try and do quick answers. I know it's going to be difficult, but how did you feel when you were
Yep.
filming and watching back on the episode of Mad Fat Diary when Ray stepped out of the fat suit?
Really weird because I wasn't there when they shot it, and it was the only day I had 2 scenes off. So I was in a really good mood, and I went back to set, and everyone was a bit funny because I think they'd all been through some like emotional weird thing. And then when I watched it for the first time with my mum, she got upset and she said that everyone feels like that. So it was a huge moment, and I was really proud of it actually, even though I wasn't there and I had absolutely no input. I was really proud of it. It was the only thing I could watch that I didn't do, if that makes sense.
Really? Oh, I see what you're
I
saying.
wasn't
Yes,
there,
yeah.
so it was the only thing that I did. All I did was this. So it was nice to see and feel that impact a little bit of something from the show that
Definitely.
I didn't know was coming.
Yeah, you're so right, because then you can never watch it yourself. You can never have the experience of watching it. You can never have, Sharon, can never have the experience of identifying with the main character at such a young age, and that, because that was you. Like, you could never.
Yeah.
And I was talking in my first episode about my experience of watching Euphoria and having that kind of triggering experience of like, whoa, this must have been what it was like for people to watch us way back then. And actually it felt like such a kind of weird gift to be able to understand finally what the fuss was all about, I guess.
yeah that's exactly it, of going, all right, okay, I get it.
And I guess, did it take for you to actually step out? Wow, what a crazy pun. Step out of it, literally. Wow, I didn't even mean to do that. I'm just so funny. God. Anyway, it just comes naturally, Sharon. I can't help it. Yeah, so I suppose it makes a lot of sense for that to be the only way to objectively watch it. Cool.
Yeah. It was cool.
Oh, good question about Brief Encounter. I have to ask about it because obviously we love Carl. So Jay Carr says, so many questions, but Sharon Rooney is amazing. We all know this. Dawn, Brief Encounters.
Oh.
Such a departure from Ray. I mean, you know, completely seeing you in a completely different light. Was her confidence and sexuality liberating or terrifying?
Both in equal measures.
Right.
Complete half and half with her. I loved playing her. I had such a great
you can just tell.
character.
You can just tell. It just looked like such a fun job. And amazing, and more amazing real people to be playing.
Yeah. And people that you don't always like. That's what I love. That you go, oh, I don't agree with everything she's doing, but here I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was so much fun to play. And I'm still sad that we didn't do more of that, because I loved that job so much.
Yeah, so am I. It's just, it's such a tragedy that you didn't do any more of it. For that, and also for the fact that Carl didn't have a job anymore. So, Two Doors Down. 1 in a Million, spelt with a Y. Did you enjoy being on Two Doors Down? For me, it was one of my favourite series, in brackets, far too funny. I don't know what that means.
It's the Scottish way.
Do you know what? I tried to watch a couple of episodes. You need to like click into the accents to follow that one. Your accent in particular.
It can take a minute. No one ever understands what I'm saying. I talk so fast. And in Two Doors Down, I don't talk much at all, so that was weird. But the best thing about that job was listening to the cast stories when the cameras stopped rolling, because there are some legends in that cast, and the stories. Oh, I could write a book. Write a book.
I bet. I love those stories when you're working with actors like that, who you could literally just, the camera stop rolling and you're like, cool, I just need to sit here and listen to you talk.
Because they'd be like, Sharon, do you want to say anything? I'd be like, no, carry on. Next.
Yeah.
Let's take notes. Next story, please.
Yeah.
They're a lovely bunch, and it was so nice to be at home, like to wake up at home and go to work. That was really cool.
I bet. Is it, what else have you, there's something else that you've done that was based in Scotland. Why can't I think of it?
I did mountain goats, and then
That's it. That's it.
I also
There's been
did.
so many questions, by the way, about mountain goats. People love it.
I loved that job. I loved that so much. Not everyone loved it, which, get a bit of fun about you. It was
Yeah.
just meant to be a bit of fun.
Yeah.
That is one of the best jobs I've ever done. Like
Oh,
I
wow.
honestly laughed from start to finish on that job. It was in front of a live audience. It was quick. We didn't get a lot of time to learn our lines. It was one of the most enjoyable jobs I've ever done in terms of
Do you think
like
that was
fun.
the live audience?
Well, we'd pre-shoot some scenes and then show them to the audience. But the
Right.
minute you're in front of a live audience, it changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because you just get that little buzz, and it was
Yeah.
just so special. I loved it, and I would have done 1,000 more episodes of it. I've loved it so much.
Oh God, it sounds like a dream. I would literally love to do something. I mean, I was in a play that was a comedy play, and it was so funny how, particularly with a play, obviously it's different every night. But even if
Hmm.
there was a few titters one night where there wasn't one night before, you would change the performance would be
Yeah.
completely different, and you would take the way that you would deliver a line in a completely different way because you felt like, oh, there's a bit of buzz around that, so I'm going to play into
Hmm.
it or I'm going to lean into it. It just completely changes the
There's
whole
nothing
thing.
like it.
Yeah.
There's
And
nothing
you
like You don't
can't,
get that with telly.
I was just going to say, you just can't, like, you just don't.
No, if I make the crew laugh, I'm always like, yes.
Yeah.
But if you do a just funny scene and the crew are like
Yeah.
a little bit inside dive
Or
because
when
you
the
think,
crew
oh,
are absolutely pissing themselves laughing, you think, I've absolutely smashed it. And then it doesn't make it in. And you're like, what? That was so good on the day.
I hate
It
that.
doesn't,
I hate that because you go, wait till you see this bit coming up. I killed it.
yeah.
Oh, maybe it'll be on the DVD. Oh
Oh, God, they don't exist anymore.
no, God no. That's showing my age. Showing my age.
There you go. Wait, you're the same age as me, pal. Hold on. Okay. I think we've probably got time for one more question, which is really worrying. Probably best to talk about what's next. Lots of people want to talk about a specific film. I'm not sure what you'll be able to talk about, I guess, but
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to talk about anything. God, actors are annoying, aren't they?
yeah,
We're so annoying, but
yeah.
I'm bound by so many things. I'm terrified to get in trouble.
Well, have you got
But
exciting stuff coming up? Obviously, stuff that we can watch, things that are in the pipeline. Be non-specific.
I'm pretty busy. I spoke to my agent earlier, and she said, "I hope you've had a good rest because I think it's going to be busy," which is really lucky. And the next things, I'm very excited about. I'm excited to get back to Finding Alice because we were only halfway through when the
Oh
pandemic
yeah,
happened. So
yeah, of
I'll be going
course.
back there first, and then I've got the next projects in, which I'm really excited about.
That's very, very
Ridiculously
cool.
lucky, I know.
Yes, I mean, all we need to do is go on IMDb, guys, and then you'll know, and then you'll realise why we're being so cagey and candid. So
I'm
Sharon, I'm
sweating.
gonna have
I'm
to wrap it up.
sweating.
Don't. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. It's okay. I'm sweating too. I've realised this top that I was given very kindly is actually, it's like a pajama. It's like this pretend silky pajamas, which is making me sweaty.
But it is
But it's
gorgeous.
okay. We're
So
done. It's finished. Thank you, Sharon, so much. Thank
thank
you so
you.
much. I'm so sorry, everybody, that we didn't get to all of your questions. Maybe Sharon can pop onto my page and answer some of them when
I will.
I put the video up. Thank you. That would be amazing. I want to make sure that I get this done in 1 minute. So thank you, Sharon. I will chat to you all in a bit. Message me. Let's just stay radio and go, go, go. Otherwise I can't save it. Thank you, Sharon. Lots of love.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, I'm so stressed. Next week's guest, amazing. Can't wait to speak to him. Message me. I'm going to make sure that this goes on my page. I'm sweating.